I'm Alicia. Today, we're traveling across British Columbia to visit childcare programs that are doing amazing work in supporting children's behaviors through the environments. Each child is unique, and the environments can help support children's social emotional development. The environment can be broken down into physical, sensory, and social emotional components. Today, we'll see all of the ways that educators use these elements to support the children in their care. Let's go see excellent environments in action. I am so excited to be here today at the Nest Early Learning Center located in Pemberton on the traditional territory of the ltha Nation. Today I am joined with Karen. Hi Karen. This place is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, the Nest was created to keep the magic of childhood alive. Our environment, I believe, is extremely special in the design because we allow for children to find what they need. There's little zones for everyone. If they need to climb, they can climb. If they need to curl up in a ball and be hidden, they can be hidden. If they need to bounce, they can bounce.
So how would you say the environment goes above and beyond to support children and their behaviors?
Because of how it's designed, children are able to meet the core of what their need is before challenging behavior can manifest. We have our art atelier where they can create, and it's open-ended with sensory bins. They can squish, they can squeeze. We have weighted blankets. We have all the other typical things that you would have in a preschool. But adding those sensory elements really impacts behavior because children's base needs are being met.
How would you go about introducing that to a child?
First, I would try to be that investigator, like I said again, because not all children benefit from the same thing. So some need to spin, some need to bounce, some need to hide, some need to have soft sensory, some need scratchy things. So first, it's about really getting to know the child and then finding out what works for them. And then you can do it very budget friendly. Anyone can do this. You don't have to have tons of money to create a Zen zone because just going to the dollar store, you can come up with tons of things once you know what the need is of the child. We are always changing, always trying to be investigators and seeing what are our children's needs. So last year we had an extremely high energy bunch of children. So we expanded our gross motor zone. We got a crash mat and they just run and crash into the mat and then run, crash into the mat and climb up the rock climbing wall and crash into the mat. But because they had that opportunity, then at circle time they joined. And they were participating. But had they not had that opportunity, it would have been really difficult.
So in our online training, we talk about the different components of a learning environment. So we cover physical environment, social, emotional, and sensory. So what do you do in the space to support social emotional learning for children?
If we can see that a child is becoming dysregulated, we can go to them and say, put your hand on your heart. Okay, what can you feel? How are you breathing? And then what could you do right now? And then we can draw them into the Zen zone. And there we have so many different sensory things that can help them to regulate. We can then open the discussion about self-regulation, what zone they're feeling, and what things they could do to help themselves self-regulate. So by using the environment, it gives us that opening that they can come out of fight or flight mode, come into a quiet area where their needs are being met, and then we can help to deal with the behavior.
Here we are in Chilliwack at ltha Early Education Center located on the unceded territory of the Stalo people. Today I am joined by Monique. Hi Monique, thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here.
Can you tell us a little bit more about ltha?
We are a center that services the community from 0 to 5. We are located on a gorgeous property. We were very fortunate to have larger outdoor space for our children, so there's a lot of space for us to set up different areas that help the children burn off some of that energy, some big body play. We bring a lot of what we do indoors, outdoors. So we're able to offer the children sensory opportunities, quiet spaces, music, movement, arts and crafts, and we really try and make those walls disappear between indoors and outdoors, and we use the outdoors just as much of a classroom as we do the indoors. We find that the time that the children spend outside, it seems to settle and soothe their little systems, and the staff as well. So we're co-regulating together while we're outside. The fresh air and the unlimited space for movement, whether it's on the playground or we're out on the property going for walks, it just gives them an opportunity to learn more about their bodies, explore what they're capable of, manage through boundaries, and just connect with their surroundings. So with us being here on Stalo, you know, connecting with the land is very important to us, and we really want to foster that for the children. So they do have some of their most favorite places on the property that we like to visit throughout every season, and I think that they build that relationship with that space each and every season that comes, and as they grow older, those spaces hold a really special place in their hearts.
How often do you find that you're adapting your outdoor environment to suit the needs of each individual child?
We adapt the environment each and every day. So when we come in and our center opens and the children come in and we're gauging how their evening was, how their day might have been, what's going on at home, that guides how we show up for them. But it's our responsibility to show up and be able to be flexible for them so that they can continue to feel that we have their best interests at heart and that we see them for who they are.
Now we're here in the northwestern region of British Columbia at Gittinmac's Language Nest, which is located on the unceded territory of the Gitxsan people. This is Edna. Edna, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me.
And would you mind introducing yourself and the program?
Okay, I'm Edna Boyd. I've been here since 2010. I decided I'd love to be in this program because they talk a lot about culture. They focus on culture, they focus on song and dance and traditions. I feel that the little 3-year-olds, they're like sponges and they learn right from day one. We focus on routine and language.
And how do you incorporate language from day one?
Right from when they walk in the door, we say, Amahilo. Ala, Hetsamgasan. We get them to all stand in one place and where they put their bags, and then Ala, Sidach. Take off your shoes. After about 2-3 weeks, we're just saying just to Gitxsan.
What do visual aspects of the environment do for kiddos, even if maybe they can't read or understand the different language components yet?
Visual is definitely good because like especially when we have free play and we have children at our table, you have children at the Play-Doh table, and then you'll have a couple of children over at the visual and they're showing the colors. We color 10, you could hear them being the teacher. So they're being the teacher and teaching the other ones.
And I noticed that you have song lyrics on the wall and you have drums. Can you speak a bit more about how you use music in the classroom?
Music, it just gets their blood flowing and it makes them so vibrant and alive and excited, and they just want to keep on singing it. Like even when they're in line, when we're getting ready to go somewhere else, the transition, I hear them singing. I said, oh, that makes me so happy they're singing that song.
And what do you notice about children's behaviors before you start singing and dancing versus after?
They're excited about it, and they sing it at home, so that's the best part.
Here we are in Vanderhoof at YMCA Early Care and Learning, which is located on the unceded territory of the Sykas and Dakelh people. Thank you both for having us today. How do you feel that environments impact children and their behaviors?
Overstimulating environments, they negatively impact children and their behavior. When children are too worked up, they can't process or figure out their emotions, which tends to more misbehavior.
Our YMCA program, we have like muted colors on our walls, and we also have put up these light covers so that the children are not super stimulated by the lights. We noticed that lots of them were having headaches, and even the teachers were, and then that child-educator interaction is not calm and positive, right?
We offer a wide variety of different toys and activities for children to choose from. We keep all areas of the program open all day, allowing kids to decide whether they want to do art, they want to read a book or do a puzzle, they want to play in the sensory bin.
So I notice you have a lot of natural components to your environment like plants, and I also notice you have some animals. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The YMCA Play to Learn philosophy believes that providing natural living things in the environment teaches children to care for living things and learn self-help skills. So they help us water the plants, and they help us take care of Daddy Pig, who is our guinea pig over there.
And how do the relationships or bonds that you form with the children impact how you adapt to the environments day to day?
Well, if I speak from experience, I had a child in my last year's class who had a lot of behaviors and a lot of different ways of interacting with the environment that I hadn't seen before. And we adapted by adding things that he could climb and things that he could sit on during our circle time, like a wobble seat, so that he could focus better. And then that helped us with our engagement with him. And then he was also able to sit for longer periods of time.
And what sorts of behaviors do you see when children don't necessarily have the skills to enter into play with their peers?
You see a lot of pushing or knocking over of toys, taking toys.
Some children just isolate, will go off into the corner and just sit down and wait for somebody to notice.
And how do you teach the skills that they need to enter into play?
One thing we really focus on is teaching children the vocabulary to use with their peers, to ask, and teaching the other children how to read that child's cues. So explaining to them that they might not be able to ask to play with you, but their behavior is saying that that's what they would like to do. So how can they play with you? Like, we try to teach them that it's not a if they can play with them, it's a how. So that even the children that struggle interacting with peers have a way to join into the play as well.
And what does inclusive childcare look like to each of you?
To me, it looks like allowing all children the right to participate and that all their needs are met equally to their needs. That means going above and beyond to get to the bottom of behaviors, exhausting all external resources that we can to ensure that they're able to participate without affecting the care of the other children as well.
Establishing good relationships and like quality relationships with the families is super important too, because the more you know the family, the more you know their child. And I've had the honor of getting lots of great relationships with all of my children's families, and it's wonderful. It brings such a different perspective into the emotions that they feel and the way that they come into this space and what I can do to adapt my room.
Here we are at Island Métis Childcare, which is an Aboriginal Head Start program located on the unceded territory of the Lekwungen and Wasanich peoples. I'm here with Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann, thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Would you care to introduce the space a little bit?
Sure. This is our 3 to 5 space. We call it the hummingbird room because our kids buzz around in here. We have children with all abilities in this space, so it's a comfortable space for parents and educators and the children and our elders that are in our program.
And what components of the environment do you think help support that comfort with the community?
Yeah, so our space is really inviting. So we don't have a limit on how long parents can stay. We like our parents to be part of our program. So we really try to make it a community because it's not that we're the educators and they're the parents. We are a community raising our children together.
So how do environments and relationships come together to support children's behaviors?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that every surface is touchable so that the children are welcome to explore the space freely and that everything is open-ended. So there's not just one way to use the environment that we have, and nothing in this room is sharp or that could hurt anybody. So we really want to welcome the children to use the environment that we have to explore. So we want to make sure that everything in the room has the ability to have a curious element to us and just kind of expand on that and see where is this taking us.
And would you mind speaking more about decolonization and how we can decolonize our understanding of children's behaviors?
You know, if we believe that we are really part of that child's circle, we really need to get to know them. We need to get to know what are the things in the environment that are affecting them, the loud noises. When we first opened this center, we have these very high ceilings. And so what could we do to kind of dull in the sound so that overstimulation for all of the kids? We also have headphones for some of the children that have some sound sensitivities. We have lighter and darker areas in our room, so it's a little more of a nook, a little quieter for them. But it's really about really getting to know the child.
Do you and the children have a favorite spot in the center?
I think their most favorite spot is wherever an educator is with them. They really love to have the educators playing with them. And so that means hanging out with them, enjoying what they're doing, showing the laughter that educators have and the excitement for what they're doing. And getting the kids to teach us what they know.
Now we're here in Penticton at the One Sky Child Care Center located on the unceded territory of the Syilx people. This is Eileen. Eileen, thank you for being here. Would you mind giving us a brief introduction?
Sure, my name's Eileen Mutzine and I'm the One Sky Child Care Inclusion and Team Support.
And how does the environment impact children's behaviors?
Every environment is different, every child is different, and environment for me includes the staff and the space and just the feeling and culture of the program. Depending on the children, adaptations are made to support what we're seeing the children need. If there's behaviors that are increasing or we're noticing children are struggling in certain places, we'll make adaptations to our programming and the environment.
Do you have any examples or stories about a time where you've adapted the environment to help a child with a behavior that was challenging to you?
There's a few spaces in our center here, including like our gym area and our 3 to 5 room where we've actually added opportunities for children to create their own little spaces within bigger spaces. So we put a little loft bed that children can actually go under when they're feeling like they need to tap out for a second.
What would you say this space does very well when it comes to supporting children through the environment?
There's spaces within this little room here that have opportunities for children to snuggle up, to rest, to read, to do sort of bigger body movements and sensory items out so that they always have somewhere to get that feedback play, and also art activities that are open-ended.
I am noticing, just looking around the room, that there are so many different activities for the children to do. And I'm noticing there's a lot of activities that are associated with literature. And so can you walk us through why you choose to incorporate books with activities?
The love of literature starts very early, and it is really important to children. Reading to children and letting them explore books is probably the biggest thing we can do as adults to increase their curiosity of the world around them. And it's that early literacy that is a stepping stone to a lot of their development.
And what does inclusive childcare look like to you, and how is that linked to children's behaviors?
It's us looking at our environment and how our environment impacts behavior. So if we have children whose behaviors are increasing in certain ways, what are we doing and at what time? Like, how are we intervening? How well do we know this child? And how are we going to adapt our ways and our environment to support them? So when we're looking at why is it important and how does it affect children, it's all of the things that we do around the child that help the child grow, just like a plant. I know Hannah Beach often relates to like, what does the plant need? Does it need water? Does it need fertilizer? You don't just stand there saying, change, change. You have to do the changes around that child to get the behaviors to shift.
That's a beautiful analogy. And I like how you're using relationships, inclusion, environments, everything's connected.
Yeah.
Inclusive environments consist of strong physical, social, emotional, and sensory elements. This allows all children to thrive in a space where they feel supported, welcomed, and respected. Now, we invite you to think about your program. Reflect on what you do very well and consider if there's anything new you'd be interested in trying. All children and childcare programs are unique, and we encourage you to continue building your own excellent environments to support the children and families in your care.